We all complain about our banks, right?
Right.
But like, have you ever actually thought about switching?
Yeah.
Today, we're going to dig into why people actually ditch their banks
Yeah.
and how some companies are finding out before it even happens.
Yeah. It's wild.
We're diving deep into some marketing stuff from a company called Recordia.
Okay.
And they are doing some seriously next-level
Yeah.
analysis of customer experience. It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, what really struck me about this document is how it highlights the pressure on traditional banks. They're facing this like digital tidal wave, and then you've got these neobanks, these like digital native banks popping up, and
Yeah.
they're all about that online only, no branches, super techie experience.
Like the Wild West of banking, you know?
Totally.
You've got the established players and these new kids on the block all vying for customers.
Yeah.
But it's not just about being digital, right? There's something about these neobanks that's really appealing. Like, what are they offering that traditional banks maybe aren't?
It's a good question. And I think it goes beyond just banking, honestly.
Okay.
It's about the entire customer experience, right? Like, why are we loyal to some companies but not others?
Right.
What makes us stick around?
Yeah.
And in the financial world, that customer lifetime value, that's huge.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And that's what this document really emphasizes. Retaining those loyal customers, that is priority number one for banks.
Yeah, customer loyalty is gold, right?
Absolutely.
But, speaking of gold, or maybe more like stop throwing money at the problem.
Okay.
This document actually says that customer churn, it's not always about the fees,
That's true.
which
Yeah,
I
okay.
found really interesting.
Yeah, of course high fees are annoying.
Oh, for sure.
Nobody likes that.
But nobody likes that, right?
But it was interesting to see how many people said they left a bank because they felt undervalued.
Hmm.
Or they had bad experiences with staff who were, like, clearly untrained.
Oh, interesting.
So it's not just about the transactions.
Yeah.
It's about respect, feeling understood.
It's that human connection, right?
Exactly.
Like when you go to your local coffee shop and they already know your order and it just makes you feel good.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that can translate to banking too.
Totally.
But how are banks supposed to keep track of all those little nuances and interactions, especially when you're talking about millions of customers?
Yeah, right.
This is where it gets really interesting because Recordia, they've got this technology, this speech analysis and conversational intelligence technology.
It's pretty wild.
It's like they're listening in on every single interaction.
It is, yeah.
And they're analyzing all this data for subtle clues about the customer's experience. Like they talk about keyword spotting and being able to detect frustration in someone's voice.
Yeah.
They even analyze silences.
It's amazing.
Wait, hold on.
What?
Silence is like dead air on a call.
Yeah.
You're telling me they can get insights from that?
Think about it. A long pause, that could mean someone's hesitant, they're confused, they're holding back frustration.
Oh,
All of that is data.
right.
And Recordia, they're tapping into that to identify customers who might be on the verge of leaving.
That's both really cool and a little creepy.
A little bit,
But
yeah.
in a good way. It's like they're the Sherlock Holmes of customer service calls.
Yes, exactly.
So what kind of red flags are they looking for, besides the awkward silences?
Well, one big one they mentioned is when customers start name-dropping competitor banks during a call.
Oh, it's a big one, yeah.
That's like, waving a red flag in front of a bowl.
Totally.
They're also looking at things like call resolution rates.
Okay.
Obviously, customer satisfaction scores.
Exactly.
And then, yeah, all those subtle things like tone of voice,
Okay.
interruptions, are people cutting each other off?
Uh-huh.
And, yeah, those pregnant pauses we talked about.
So it's not just what you say, it's how you say it.
Yes.
And even when you don't say anything at all.
It's right.
I'm suddenly very self-conscious about I utter this
Right.
technology is amazing.
It is, yeah.
But it makes you wonder, is it all about technology?
Yeah.
Are there other ways that banks are trying to improve customer experience and build that loyalty?
It is a good question. And, yeah, the Recordia document, they focus a lot on their tech. But it does mention, like, a holistic approach to customer experience.
Right.
They don't really give specifics, but, like, it's clear that tech alone isn't enough.
It's like they glossed over that whole human touch part.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just want to talk to a real person,
Absolutely.
someone who actually gets it.
Yeah.
Someone who can empathize and actually help you solve a problem without making you feel like you're navigating that phone tree from hell.
Exactly. And that's where employee training, empowering employees,
Right.
that becomes super crucial.
Yeah.
Imagine if bank employees were trained not just to follow a script, but to actually listen to anticipate problems, to offer solutions that actually fit the person's needs.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That changes everything.
Okay, so we've got the tech side. We've got the human element.
Yeah.
But there's one more piece of this puzzle we haven't talked about yet. Voice biometrics.
Right.
The document makes it sound like this win-win for security and for a better customer experience, which seems a little too good to be true.
It does.
Is it really possible to have both?
Well, it's funny because we're so used to thinking that more security equals more hassle.
Right, totally.
More passwords, more security questions, more hoops to jump through.
Exactly.
But voice biometrics, it kind of flips that on its head.
So instead of me trying to remember which childhood pet I used for my bank security question this time, I could just talk to my banking app.
Yep.
And it would know it's me based on my voice.
Exactly. Exactly. Like imagine calling your bank.
Okay.
And instead of going through that whole rigmarole of verifying your identity,
right.
Your voice is your ID.
Wow.
No more pins, no more security questions. It's just seamless, secure access.
I have to admit that does sound really convenient.
Right. Yeah.
And you knew there was a but coming.
Of course.
Doesn't it also feel a little invasive?
Yeah.
Like, how comfortable are we with our voices being like digital fingerprints that companies can just collect and analyze?
Yeah.
It's a little like that scene in Minority Report.
Oh, yeah.
Where they scan your iris as you walk by.
Right.
But now it's our voices.
Yeah.
It's like a trade-off.
It is. It is. On the one hand, you've got like super smooth, super secure banking.
Right.
But then on the other hand, it's like, are we okay with our voices becoming like just another piece of data that can be analyzed and who knows, maybe even like sold and commercialized?
Yeah.
It really makes you think, where's that line between convenience and privacy?
Totally. And it's kind of like how we've all just accepted those targeted ads.
Oh, yeah.
Based on our browsing history.
Totally.
We're like, okay, take a little bit of my privacy.
Yeah.
Give me a more personalized experience.
Yeah.
Is this going to be the next thing?
It very well could be.
Yeah.
It's definitely something to be aware of as, as consumers.
All right.
Because let's face it, technology moves fast.
For sure.
And it's hard to keep up with all the implications.
It's so true. I mean, 5 years ago, did we ever think we'd be talking about voice prints?
I know, right?
Like, it sounds like we're in a sci-fi movie.
Right. And that's why it's good to be having these conversations now.
Yeah.
Like before this stuff is so widespread that we don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah, we just become numb to it.
Right. Exactly.
So it's about being informed, being empowered.
Yeah.
Understanding the good and the bad.
Absolutely.
So that we can make good choices as consumers about how we interact with this technology.
100%. 100%. And asking those tough questions, right? Like, how secure is this? What happens if a company is sold or, God forbid, hacked?
Right.
What happens to our voice prints then? These are all things that I think companies need to be really upfront about.
Yeah, transparency is key. Well, we covered a lot today.
We did.
Neobanks, speech analytics.
Voice prints, it's a lot.
The ethical dilemmas.
It's a lot to unpack.
Of voice biometrics.
It is.
And it all started from, customer churn, which is fascinating.
I know, right?
It just goes to show you that even something like a marketing document, if you really dig in there,
totally,
can spark some really interesting conversations.
For sure. For sure.
That's what we're all about here on The Deep Dive.
Exactly.
We like to dig a little deeper, ask the tough questions.
Unpack it all.
And give you something to think about.
Exactly.
So the next time you're talking to your bank, ordering groceries through Alexa, or just chatting with Siri, just remember this conversation.
Think about it.
Your voice is becoming more and more valuable.
It is.
And it's up to all of us to navigate this new landscape carefully.
For sure.
Until next time.
Keep those conversations going.